Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Speak Better English podcast.
Today, we are tackling a situation that I think every single person listening has experienced.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you haven't, you almost certainly will at some point. It's that precise moment when the excitement of travel just turns into this cold knot in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
You step off a train or you turn a corner in a city where you don't speak the language, and suddenly nothing matches the map on your phone.
And the battery is dying.
The battery's dying. The street signs are just shapes, not words you can read. You're lost.
It is such a universal human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that it's inconvenient, it's physiological.
It really is.
Your heart rate goes up, your palms get sweaty, and your ability to think clearly just evaporates.
Exactly. And that is why I'm so excited about the source material we're digging into today. We're not reviewing some, dense textbook. We're not looking at a grammar guide. We're analyzing a very specific resource. It's called the Traveler's Compass, Essential Phrases for Finding Your Way.
I love that title.
And to help us navigate this, pun fully intended, I'm joined by our expert guide. Welcome back.
It's great to be here. And I'm glad you set the scene that way, with that feeling of panic.
Yeah.
Because this guide, The Traveler's Compass, it isn't really about teaching you English in that traditional sense.
Right.
It's about solving a crisis. It addresses the problem of being lost in a foreign country, not as an academic issue, but as a survival issue.
That distinction is just huge. The section we are focusing on has a title that really grabbed me. It's just Lost. Say this.
So direct.
It's so aggressive, right? It's not suggestions for when you might be confused. It's lost. Say this.
It's a command. There's no ambiguity.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to unpack why that approach matters so much. We're going to explore how the Traveler's Compass structures this whole challenge of asking for directions.
And why it basically throws away the traditional methods.
Exactly. We want to understand why it focuses entirely on what it calls essential phrases.
And I think the hook here, especially for anyone listening who is learning English or, trying to travel with limited language skills, is the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need a compass for language? Usually we're told we need a map. We're told we need to know everything, grammar, vocabulary, syntax.
The whole system.
The whole system. But this source argues that when you're on the ground and you're struggling, you don't need a map. You just need a compass.
And that is the aha moment we are going to get to. The shift from complex learning to just immediate functional communication.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's jump straight into that first segment. The metaphor. The source is titled The Traveler's Compass. Now, authors don't choose titles by accident. Why compass? Why not The Traveler's GPS or, The Traveler's Encyclopedia?
It's a very, very deliberate pedagogical choice. Let's just think about the difference between a map and a compass in a real-world scenario. If I hand you a super detailed topographical map of, say, Tokyo, and you're standing in the middle of Shinjuku Station, completely turn around, what is the first thing you have to do?
Well, first I have to stop the panic sweating.
Right.
But then I have to figure out where I am on the map. I have to find that little red dot that says, you are here.
Exactly. You have to orient yourself within a massive, incredibly complex system. You have to understand the scale, the grid, the legends, all of it.
It's a lot of information.
A map provides a top-down view of the world. It gives you all the information everywhere all at once. And it requires a very high level of cognitive processing to use effectively.
And that is exactly what you don't have when you are stressed out.
Precisely. Now think about a compass. What does a compass actually do?
It just points north. That's it. It gives you one direction.
It is binary. It's simple. It doesn't tell you what's on the other side of the mountain. It just tells you which way to walk to go north.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
In the context of language learning, the map approach is trying to learn the entire English language. All the grammar rules, all the exceptions, the 5,000 most common words.
That's the map.
That's the map. And it's great if you have years and years to study in a classroom. But the Traveler's Compass argues that when you're lost, you don't need the whole language. You just need orientation.
So in this metaphor, the compass is a specific targeted phrase that just gets you moving. It gets you pointed in the right direction.
Exactly. It implies that you don't need to understand the underlying structure of the language to use it effectively.
You don't need to know why the verb is conjugated that way.
No. You just need to know that if you use this tool, this specific phrase, it points you toward a solution. It works.
That is actually really liberating. I think a lot of our listeners, especially non-native speakers, carry this really heavy burden of feeling like they have to be perfect.
The perfectionism trap.
Yeah, they feel like if they can't speak like a native, they shouldn't speak at all. This metaphor says, no, just grab the compass.
It completely removes the pressure. A compass is just a tool for navigation. It's not a test of your intelligence or your worth.
And that leads us right to the subtitle, which you mentioned is just as important. Essential phrases for finding your way.
Finding your way.
Let's unpack that phrase. I mean, obviously, there's the literal meaning.
Yes, literally navigating streets, getting from your hotel to the museum. That's the surface level problem the guide is solving.
But you're saying there's a deeper level.
There's definitely a deeper level. Finding your way is also about navigating the social situation.
Navigate the social situation. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, just think about the act itself. Asking for directions. You have to go up to a total stranger.
Right.
You are interrupting their day. You are admitting your own vulnerability. You are essentially saying, I am helpless and I need you to help me.
That's a socially complex interaction.
It is, especially when you're crossing cultures. There are all these unspoken rules.
That's so true. It's awkward. I will often hesitate to ask for directions just because I don't want to be that tourist.
The annoying one.
Exactly. So you're socially lost, not just geographically lost. This guide helps you find your way through that social friction
No.
by giving you the exact words to say. It bridges that gap between you and the local person. It gives you a script, a tool to manage the interaction so you don't just freeze up.
It's a social script. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And the source uses the word essential to describe these phrases, essential phrases. In marketing, everything is essential. My toothpaste is essential. My morning coffee is essential. What does the source mean by essential?
In this context, essential implies a really rigorous filtering process has already been done for you.
Okay.
It means the author has stripped away all the noise. They aren't giving you polite phrases for making new friends or cool slang to sound like a local.
Right.
They are giving you the minimum viable language to survive that specific situation. So it's the difference between packing for like a 3-month vacation versus packing an emergency survival kit.
That is the perfect analogy. The map. All of English is your entire wardrobe. You've got outfits for every occasion.
Right.
The compass and these essential phrases, they are the first aid kit. You hope you don't need them, but when you do, you need exactly those items. And you need them to be easily accessible, right at the top of the bag.
That idea of accessibility is key. And it leads us right into the second segment of our dip dive, which is the actual methodology. The section header in the source is just so stark. Lost. Say this.
I love the punctuation there. It's so deliberate.
It's psyching, isn't it? Lost with a question mark. Say this as a direct command. It feels very, military or medical, like a protocol.
It is a protocol. And let's break down the question first. Lost. It's identifying a trigger.
A trigger.
Yeah. In behavioral psychology, to form a habit or a reaction, you need a clear trigger. The source is telling the learner, identify this specific feeling. Are you confused? Is your heart racing? Do you not know where you are? Okay, that is the trigger.
It validates the feeling. It's not saying, here is a fun travel tip. It's saying, are you in trouble right now?
Exactly. And then the solution is immediate and it's imperative. Say this. It cuts through all the hesitation.
What do you mean by hesitation?
Well, usually when a non-native speaker tries to formulate a sentence in a new language, they are constructing. They're thinking, okay, subject, then verb, then object. Is it past tense? What's the polite form of this?
And while they're doing all that mental gymnastics, the person they wanted to ask for help has already walked past them.
Precisely. Construction takes time and it takes a lot of cognitive energy. But say this implies don't construct, just output.
So it treats the phrase like a tool you pull out of your pocket.
Yes, not a sentence you have to build from a box of spare parts.
But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Yeah.
Is that really learning? If I just parrot a phrase without understanding grammar behind it, am I actually learning English, or am I just a customized tape recorder?
That is a completely fair objection, and it's one that language purists often make. But you have to look at the goal.
Okay.
The goal of this specific source isn't fluency. The goal is functionality in a crisis.
Right.
When you are lost and your heart is pounding, your goal is not to demonstrate your mastery of the subjunctive mood. Your goal is to find the train station.
So function over form.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And interestingly, using these prepackaged scripts can actually lead to better learning later on.
How so?
Because you use the phrase and it works, you get the directions, you find the train, you get a little dopamine hit, it feels good, you gain confidence.
Ah, so that positive reinforcement makes you more willing to speak the next time.
Exactly. The fear goes down a little bit.
That connects to the promise the source makes. Easy travel phrases. Now, easy is another one of those really subjective words. What's easy for a German speaker might be nightmare fuel for a Japanese speaker, for example. How does the source define easy?
In the context of travel English, easy usually comes down to 3 specific criteria. The first one is just brevity, shortness.
Okay.
The fewer syllables, the less chance there is for your tongue to get tied in knots.
So where is the train versus, excuse me, kind sir, could you possibly direct me to the nearest railway transportation hub?
Exactly that. The second criterion is phonological simplicity.
Meaning?
You want to avoid sounds that are notoriously difficult across different language groups. You want phrases that are robust.
Robust.
Yeah, meaning even if you have a heavy accent, even if you butcher the vowels a little bit, the core meaning should still be understandable.
It needs to be durable, able to withstand a bad accent.
Durable is a great word for it. And the third criterion, which is so often overlooked, is high frequency of recognition. An easy phrase isn't just easy for you to say. It must be easy for the listener, the local person on the street, to understand instantly.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a two-way street. It's not just about me.
Always. Communication is a loop. If you learn some quirky slang phrase that's technically short, but it's obscure or weird, the local person will pause.
They'll give you that confused look.
They will. They'll frown.
Yeah.
They'll try to process what you just said.
Yeah.
And that little pause creates so much anxiety for the learner.
Yeah, you immediately think, oh no, I said it wrong.
Right. You want immediate recognition. You want the local to nod and point before you've even finished the sentence.
So easy actually just means high success rate.
Precisely. That's the real definition here.
The source categorizes this specifically under topic, asking for directions travel English. It seems to be drawing a very hard line between this and just general conversation.
And that distinction is vital for the learner's sanity.
Yeah.
It really is. General English conversation is an open system. It's infinite. If we start chatting right now, we could talk about the weather, politics, food, philosophy. For a learner, that is terrifying because you can't predict where the conversation will go.
You're walking into a minefield of potential vocabulary you just don't know.
Right. But asking for directions is a closed loop. It's a transaction. There is a very specific script.
Okay.
That goes 1, 2, where is X? 3, go left, right, straight. 4, thank you.
That's it.
The transaction has boundaries. By focusing on just this, the source is telling the learner, you are safe here. The conversation isn't going to run away from you.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the stress aspect.
Okay.
Why does the source emphasize easy and simple so aggressively? Is it just for convenience, or is there something, biological happening in our brains?
There is absolutely something biological happening. To understand this, we need to talk about the affective filter.
The affective filter. Okay, that sounds like a term from a sci-fi movie. Break it down for us.
It's a concept that was proposed by the linguist Stephen Krashen. And the idea is, imagine there is a filter, like a screen or a wall in your brain.
Okay.
It's between the outside world and the part of your brain that processes language. When you are relaxed, happy, and confident, the filter's down, it's low. Input comes in, you learn, you speak fluidly.
Okay, so that's me after one glass of wine at a dinner party.
Exactly. The
Wow.
wall is down. But when you are anxious, stressed, embarrassed, or afraid, like when you are lost in a foreign city, the filter goes up, the wall rises.
And what happens to the language when the wall goes up?
It gets blocked physically. Cortisol, the stress hormone, floods your system. The pathways to your memory are literally inhibited.
Wow.
You might know the word for bathroom perfectly. You practiced it in your hotel room 100 times. But standing in a crowded station with that filter up, you cannot access the word. It is locked behind the wall.
That explains so much. I have definitely had moments where I know the word, but my brain just gives me a 404 error. The page cannot be found.
That is the affective filter in action. And this is why the Traveler's Compass emphasizes easy phrases and the command say this. The whole goal is to provide phrases that are so simple, so drilled, and so automatic that they can slip under the wall.
It's a bypass mechanism.
It is. It acknowledges that a stressed brain is a different organ from a relaxed brain. It's not about insulting your intelligence, it's about strategizing for your own biology.
So you're saying if you try to construct complex grammar with a high effective filter,
You will fail. Almost every time.
beta.
But if you use a preset compass phrase, you will succeed.
That is a profound shift in perspective. It means we shouldn't judge our language skills by how we perform when we're calm in a classroom.
No.
We should judge them by what we can access when we are panicked on a street corner.
Exactly. Your essential vocabulary is your panic vocabulary. That's a real test.
I want to move on to a specific detail in the source that I found really intriguing. In the notes, it mentions an overlay, ask directions.
I saw that too.
This suggests that the source material might be video-based or have some digital component where text appears on a screen.
I think that's a safe bet. And that visual component, the overlay, is a really smart piece of instructional design.
How so? Why does seeing the words on a screen matter if we're ultimately talking about speaking?
Well, we're living in a visual age, for one, but more importantly, the overlay acts as a cognitive signpost.
A signpost.
Yeah. If you're just watching a video lesson and you only hear the audio, the information is fleeting. It goes in one ear and you have to work to catch it and categorize it.
Right.
But if you see the text ask directions stamped on the screen before the lesson starts, it frames the entire experience for you.
So it categorizes the information before you even have to process it.
Yes, it tells your brain, okay, file everything you are about to hear into the folder marked asking directions. It reduces the cognitive load. You're not trying to figure out what you're learning, you already know.
It reminds me of a heads-up display, a HUD in a video game or a fighter jet.
That is a fantastic comparison.
Yeah.
Seriously, think about a pilot. They have 1 million dials and gauges in the cockpit. That's the map. That's the grammar book.
All the information.
Right. But in a dogfight, or when they're landing in a storm, they look at the HUD. And the HUD only shows the vital info. Speed, altitude, target.
It strips away all the noise.
Exactly. The overlay in this source is the HUD for the traveler. It ignores all the complex declensions and irregular verbs and just puts the target on the screen. Say this.
And the target here is asking for directions. We've talked a bit about why this is hard, but why is this the skill the source seems to prioritize above all others? Why not checking into a hotel or ordering food? Those seem important too.
They are important, sure. But let's just play it out. If you go to a restaurant and you can't speak a word of English, what can you do?
I can point at the pictures on the menu.
You can point, you can look at what the next table is eating and point to their food. You can survive without speaking.
True. And checking into a hotel, you usually just hand over your passport and your credit card.
It's mostly a silent transaction. There are props, there are documents. But being lost,
It's different.
you cannot mime the question, where is the specific train to the airport that leaves at 4 p.m. from platform 3? You can't point to a destination you can't see.
It is the one problem that absolutely requires a bridge to another human being. You have to use language.
It is the quintessential dependency moment.
Yeah.
In that situation, you're completely dependent on the local environment, on other people, and that's why the Traveler's Compass prioritizes it. It's the bottleneck.
The bottleneck.
Yeah. If you can't solve this one problem, your travel just stops. You are physically stuck.
But if you can solve it,
If you can solve it, if you know you have the compass in your pocket, you unlock the entire map. This is the paradox I love about this topic.
okay.
By having the confidence to admit you are lost and ask for help, you actually gain the freedom to get lost in the first place.
That is deep. Say that again for me.
If you are terrified of asking for directions, you will stay on the main tourist street. You will never take a risk. You'll be a tourist, not a traveler.
You'll stick to the safe path.
Right. But if you know that you have the tool, the phrase, where is the station, and you know it will work, you are free to wander down that weird, interesting alleyway. You're free to explore because you know you have a lifeline to get back.
So the essential phrases aren't just about fixing a mistake after you've made it. They are an insurance policy for adventure.
Precisely. They enable exploration. They don't just correct it.
Let's try to synthesize all of this because we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got the compass metaphor choosing orientation over total information.
Right. The direction, not the whole map.
We've got the essential filter ignoring all the noise and focusing on the survival kit. We've got the lost say this protocol, which is designed to bypass the effective filter, that wall in our brain.
A panic wall.
And we've got the visual overlay acting as a HUD, a heads-up display to frame the learning.
When you list it all out like that, you realize this source isn't just a list of words. It is a comprehensive strategy for building confidence.
So, for the listener tuning in right now, the you in this conversation, how do they apply this philosophy? Let's say they're planning a trip to New York or London next month, and their English is well, it's okay, but it's not great. What should they do?
I would say
Yeah.
audit your learning. Be really honest with yourself. Are you spending all your time trying to memorize the map?
Meaning?
Are you trying to learn the names of every vegetable in the supermarket and every piece of clothing in a department store?
Stop doing that.
Just pause that for now. Instead, build your compass. Identify the 5 to 10 specific situations where you would feel that sense of panic.
Like being lost.
Being lost, losing your bag, needing a doctor, needing to find a bathroom urgently.
The high stakes moment.
Exactly, the crisis moments. And find the specific, simple, essential phrases for those moments. Not the polite, flowery, complicated versions, the emergency kit version.
Okay.
And then, and this is the most important part, drill them.
Drill them. You mean just repetition? Like flashcards?
I mean repetition until they are completely automatic. You want to move those phrases from your thinking brain to your reflex brain.
From the slow brain to the fast brain.
Yes. You need to be able to say, where is the exit? Without thinking, the same way you can say, ouch, when you stub your toe. It has to be a reflex.
So focus on depth with a few critical tools rather than breadth with a lot of weak ones you can't remember under pressure.
Exactly. Be a master of the compass, not a novice of the map.
I also wonder what this whole approach says about the future of travel English. You know, with the overlay and the digital feel of the source material, are we moving away from traditional learning entirely? Is memorization becoming obsolete?
I think we are seeing a major shift from just-in-case learning to just-in-time learning.
I like that distinction. Just in case is how we all went to school, right?
It is. You learn algebra just in case you might need it in 20 years. You learn the word for shoe repair just in case your heel breaks while you're in Rome.
And it's highly inefficient.
It's incredibly inefficient because you forget 90% of it before you ever have a chance to use it.
And just in time, what does that look like?
Just in time is having the resource, the app, the overlay, the drilled phrase right at the moment of need. The trigger happens. I am lost. The tool appears. Say this.
So it shifts the burden from your long-term memory to your immediate access tools.
Precisely. It's a different skill set. It's about access, not storage.
It sounds like the Traveler's Compass is really a pioneer in this just-in-time methodology for language.
I think it is. It acknowledges that in the modern world, knowing how to access information quickly and reliably is often more important than storing all of it in your head.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. We've talked a lot about the internal experience of the traveler, the fear, the stress, the strategy. But I keep thinking about the person on the other side of the interaction, the stranger that we stop on the street and ask for help.
The local.
Yes, the local. We focus so much on our fear of looking stupid or being a bother. But does using these easy, stripped-down, simple phrases make us look bad? Or is there another way to see it?
That is a beautiful question to end on. And I think we often assume that using simple language is a sign of weakness or, a lack of intelligence.
Right.
But from the listener's perspective, the local's perspective, it is actually an act of courtesy.
Courtesy? How so?
Well, think about it. If someone stops you on the street and starts speaking in these long, broken, complicated paragraphs with tangled grammar,
Yeah.
it is hard work for you to understand them. You have to actively decode their bad grammar and try to guess what they mean. It's exhausting.
That's so true. I find myself just nodding and smiling sometimes, but I don't really understand what they're asking.
Exactly. But if they look you in the eye and say clearly and simply, where is the station? They have made it easy for you to help them.
You're not making them do the work.
You are respecting their time and their cognitive energy by being clear and direct.
So the compass doesn't just help you find your way. It helps the other person guide you more effectively.
It aligns both of you. It makes the connection smoother, faster, and more successful for everyone.
That is a really empowering takeaway. So to you listening, do not fear simplicity. You should embrace it. Your goal isn't to impress a stranger with your massive vocabulary.
No.
Your goal is to connect with them just long enough to get the help you need.
And to find your way to the next part of your adventure.
Exactly. Thank you so much for guiding us through the Traveler's Compass today. This was fascinating.
My pleasure. It was a fun journey.
And thank you to everyone listening. We hope this deep dive helps you feel a little less lost and a little more prepared for your next trip. Remember, even when you don't have a map, if you have the right phrase, you always have a compass. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.